How you guys doing tonight?
What's up, everybody? Nobody's talking. You guys
Nobody.
can unmute and
Hear
say
a pin
hello.
drop. Hear a pin
Yeah,
drop in this
This is
live.
awkward.
How's everybody doing? Hey,
Hey,
Neil,
how's it going?
Neil, please wait for us to unmute you. Have some manners. I'm kidding. We're doing good, man. We're doing good. We're Jeff and I are in Ohio, and it's been pretty cold and snowy, but it kind of melted off today. A little snowstorm rolled through here, but yeah, hanging out with the folks a little bit. Things are going well. How you doing, Neil?
good. I had a different kind of win today. I was at a client's. I watched what Jeff was talking about, having more contacts or getting in with your clients. Building that relationship. So I knew one of them had a job going on 5 minutes from my house. So I stopped by this morning just to say, hey, shook hands, brought him some donuts, good to go, right? So as I was leaving, all of a sudden I saw this cop in the median, and I knew I was speeding, and I looked in the rear mirror, boom, he banged a U, he pulled me over, and he's like, you know why I pulled you over? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, you going to work? I said, I just left the job site. He goes, I'll be back in a minute. I was going 60 and a 35. So
That's significant speeding.
Yes. And I said, look, it's my bad. I wasn't paying attention to him. And, I said, so he came back and he goes, look, seeing how we're so polite and you owned up to what you did and you're a working guy, I'm going to give you a break. He's like, take this down, show proof of insurance, and the ticket will be null and void.
Were you able to sell him a Legion?
No, but but at the end of the day, he said, if everybody was like you, my day would be a lot better.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
No, sir. What?
That's awesome.
That's
That's a great mindset if you're kind of delivering that positive energy over even to the police. That's awesome, even in a stressful situation like that.
Yeah. And then the cop at the courthouse, when I went down, was from Boston. We hit it off. He knew people I knew. So it was kind of it was the best ticket I've ever got.
Did you sell them a Legion?
No, he was a cop. So
No, down at the courthouse. Any of them have any networks you can tap into?
I'll tell you, we have a win. I'd love to get into the wins. Jeff, you got any wins?
Well, what win do I have? You sound like you have one top of mind.
I do. There's another company called LeadSnap. It's LeadSnap Marketing, and they sell mortgage leads. And what happened is, like, this has happened a few times where people will book a call, like a demo call, and they think that they're booking the mortgage leads one. So that's what happened. And I got on this call to do a demo with a few people, and I realized pretty quick, I always try to qualify them and ask what kind of business they run. And they said they run a real estate business. And then immediately I said, well, hey, are you guys looking for mortgage leads? Is that why you booked this call? And it's like, well, you're in the wrong place. And, we're a digital marketing agency, as well as, like, we have software that kind of facilitates marketing activities. And, so they were like, well, like, tell us a little bit more. And, right away, I don't really want to mess around with the, with mortgage leads. That's just, I don't think it's a good niche. I've heard a lot of people try to go into it, and I don't know anyone that stayed in it. And that was some people that were kind of high level SEO people have left that niche. So, we've got our thing that works really well. And, so I told him, like, hey, this is probably not a good fit. And then, like, well, we also own a mold removal company. So, after like 15 or 20 minutes, they, like, not knowing anything about me, or, I walked them through the heat map. I showed them their competitors. I explained how to change it and how to do things. And, they seemed like they were pretty much sold. So a positioning thing I do, because I kind of have this luxury in our agency, is like, look, I'm the CEO, and I don't really handle a lot of the sales. This is like the first sales call I've done in a couple of years. I really want to move you over to our director of sales, Jeff, and I'm going to have him reach out to you, and you guys can do it, because this is like not where I spend my time. So it, like, just with that little sidestep like that, first, I kind of like let them know that we're great at what we do by explaining some of the philosophy, and then passing them off to Jeff. So now it looks like, you know, at the beginning I said, you're not a qualified customer for us, so I'm not interested. So it was like a takeaway before it even started. And then kind of sold them on the service, and then moving them over to Jeff makes it look like, which, I mean, it is the case, but I could have tried to close them right there, but it lets them know that we're not like, you know, some guy that's just working out of his garage with like, we've got a team. This is a process. And like, he asked what our price was. And, you know, I said, our startup fee is, which I probably lowballed it a little. I probably should have put it at 2,000, but I said 1,500, which is what we've done a bunch in the past. And, you know, they were a little like that. They kind of have like that's a little bit of expensive reaction. And I just let them know, like, yeah, if you like, you know, you guys sell houses, and there's a difference between like buying like a really upscale house and then like, you know, some little rundown place. So we're the upscale house. We're the Ferrari, not the Honda Civic. So what we do is not for everyone. And, you know, we want to work with people who want to grow big businesses. So just as quickly as that.
Here's a challenge for me, Patrick. Let's see if I can squeeze them and get the 2,000 out of them when I have the conversation.
Yeah, I shouldn't have anchored you.
See if I can upsell them to the 2,000 and add some value on top of what you told them.
Yeah.
And kind of sell them on that.
A little bit of a win. And, you know, a lot of this stuff happens in unexpected places. I remember I sold a couch on Craigslist one time, and I ended up selling the guy. He bought the couch, and then he also bought a lead gen from us for his business. And like, just having these conversations, obviously, Neil, you're not going to be able to close a cop unless he's got some kind of side business. But just like being social and being out in the world and being nice to people is like, I've probably landed 5 or 10 of our clients that way. But that was a nice little win for us to pick up potentially another client. Who else has some wins? What else we got? Brian Jones, you got any wins? Alfredo.
I've got some wins.
Devon, what's up, brother? You got a win?
Yeah, got a few wins actually over the last week. Moved out of the old place that we were staying in so we've moved now 3 times in the last 6 months. But the furnace at the old place broke down again when the wind chill was down to 2 degrees. So we were like, hey, we're over it. Only cost $125 to break the lease, and we are in a nicer, more updated place, paying several $100s less a month. So very rare to get that. So it was actually, we got more money moving to a nicer place here in town. So that was a great personal win. Yeah, I had no complaints on it. So that was a great one. The second one is actually, I have 2 SEO clients currently after downsizing. And so I was just reading Patrick's message, my moving company. I can get out of junk removal. But anyways, with SEO clients, the first one, he actually works at a nuclear power plant part-time and was running this junk removal company. And in the 4 months that I've worked with him, he's now actually able to quit his job to run junk removal full-time.
So you've got someone else out of their job through you.
I killed his job at this point.
Yeah. That's awesome.
To run his business full-time. Yeah,
Super cool.
It's probably one of the most validating things I've done in the 2 years of doing all of this. I haven't had that situation before. And then my other SEO client last night just up and messaged me. He's like, hey, I just really want to thank you. Here's $500, for doing such a great job. So just got 500 extra bucks for that too. Last night. So
nice.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Congrats on those. It's always nice to get that appreciation from the clients. It really, makes us realize what we're doing. It's so much more than just like growing a business for ourselves. It's a business for other people too, so that's super cool. All right. Who else has some wins?
Yeah, I got one.
What's up, man? How are you liking the accountability groups version 2?
It's good. I mean, we just had our first meeting today, so I missed the first meeting. Well, they had a meeting before. I guess we can put a video on, but I'm on my couch. Oh, it's pretty dark. I missed it because I had this lead gen client that's paying me $200, and it's just way too little. And I had a meeting during our first meeting with him, and I told him I'd do he doesn't have a Google listing. So I told him I'd do it SEO for him for 2,500 plus he can have the lead gen, because that's like really what he wanted to do. And I was just like, okay, even if he drops me, I still have this lead gen that's producing, but I might as well try to get some out of it, because it's really not that much work for me to do his SEO. If I get that listing up, get the reviews, I mean, it should rank pretty good. He didn't go for 2,500, but we're just doing 1,500 for a year. So I'm going to do
So
that.
did you actually have this guy sign a contract?
Yeah, for SEO.
It's SEO for a year.
I was like messing around with this guy. So like, but he's got the lead gen. Like he's getting leads every single day from my lead gen too. So
Okay.
like, I don't care if he leaves me or not, because I still have the lead gen. So I just want to make some extra money so I could put it in some other stuff.
Right.
I'm not really don't have to do anything to the site. He literally doesn't have a Google listing, so I'll get that up and rank that for him. Because they don't even.
You're getting a monthly from him, Patrick?
Yeah, I'm getting 200 right now. Well, I just got $1,500 today, but I was getting 200 before.
So you just raised the rent from 200 to 1,500 on this guy?
Yeah, but I'm doing like.
You got to do some SEO stuff with it though.
Yeah. But I dropped one of the other Google listings I was giving them to. It was kind of ridiculous. So, but I'm getting some extra money now. I can go find some different clients, and I've landed 3 this month so far. Just like $500 deals, small ones.
That's awesome, man. Stack it up.
So that sounds like you've increased things by $2,800 this month. Is that right? 3,500s plus a $1,300 increase.
I'm hoping to land. I should land 2 or 3 more by the end of this month. I got a guy I helped start. I played soccer with him, just like you were saying before. He's never built a fence in his life, but I helped him close like an $8,000 fence. I couldn't find a fence guy, and he's just a general contractor, so he's starting a fence company now.
Wow.
Oh,
You're like casually sharing some big wins here, right? Like,
so we're just doing commission on that. I'm gonna work with them, but yeah, it should be a good deal going forward.
that's good, man. That's cool. Do you mind sharing some of your numbers? Where were you at 3 months ago, 2 weeks ago, and today?
I've been stuck at that like 6,000-7,000 range for a while. And I think I'd be going up to like 8,500, but then I lost a client, so I've just been kind of fluctuating in there. But I mean, at the end of the month, I'm hoping to be at 14,000. That's what
Patrick, you're somebody that I've always kind of like clicked with, and I like, and I think there's something that just became obvious to me in this conversation. I think the way you talk to yourself, there's actually a book called I think it's called How We Talk to Ourselves or something like that. I can get the exact name. But you have there's like doubt that's clearly coming through in a lot of the way that you're phrasing things. And I think that there's a mindset shift that would benefit you to have if you can like if this client leaves me, I don't really care if he leaves me, or I'm hoping to, rather than like, this is what's happening. Right. Yeah. And it's not that like the way that you talk is a reflection of how you think about things. Right. And I think that is going to kind of like restrain your growth. And, you look at successful people, and there's patterns that exist, whether that be, hey, they read books, they exercise, they eat healthy for the most part. And the way they talk, right. And you don't hear that type of language from them. And I would challenge you to clean that up, and let's see how it changed your mindset on things, because I think it's limiting. And it's like, I just got off an interview with a girl trying to bring onto our team, and for like phone reception. And it's been a really tough position for us to fill. She's in the Philippines. And halfway through the interview, she said, well, I'm not like very intelligent, but I have a strong work ethic. And I'm just like, shit. Well, like, if you're not intelligent, this is like, I don't want her on my team if if like, even if she is intelligent, we gave her a logic test and she passed the logic test and she did well with that. So I was like thinking that she was intelligent, and I don't know, it just really turned me off on that. And just this whole like winner's mindset, I think it's something we all need to adopt and have with us all the time. Right. So I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I just think you would benefit from that.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. All right, man. Congrats on the wins. It sounds like you're moving in an awesome direction. I would love to see you get excited about it, because it sounds like you have $2,800 more coming in than you did before, but you like, you're so like, it's almost like you're telling me that you're going to the dentist right now.
Celebrate the wins.
Yeah.
Celebrate.
Cool. Congrats, Patrick. Always a pleasure to see you on here, man. I have this dream one day we'll get to play soccer together.
I love it.
Cool. All right. Who else? We got any more wins? Nope.
Hey,
we good.
Pat.
Look at this guy.
Up,
Are you in the ocean? Are you on a submarine?
I'm just mind setting myself here, Pat. This is where I want to be.
I like it. That's cool.
I want to be back up in tropical North Queensland, mate. Diving every day would be good. Got a PageFact guy that's pretty big, well established. He's been around for about 30 years. And he's also got an interesting product that it just got approved here in Australia. It's the only machine of its type that can actually kill COVID in the air. Like, it actually actively goes out and seeks it. It's not a filter. I don't know how it works, but it's developed by NASA. So we've got him on board, and it looks like we're just negotiating for a revenue share with this guy who, he does like shopping malls and all the big stuff, And so there's talk of 10%, which is pretty exciting. So it's maybe get my shit together a little bit more, and I'm starting to get a lot more aggressive with the Google business profiles. Got a little bit of a hack going. It seems to be working pretty well. So I want to spread that web out right across, the whole population of about 5 million people, and just concentrate on the infrastructure for that one client. So it sort of put a bit of a spring in my step and got my focus back on track. So I've sort of just changed the way that I've been looking at things, and just going after these big cats, like instead of the backyard barriers. No offense to the backyard barriers out there in the world, but just going after these big cats that really want it, that are really aggressive, have a really good outfit, a really good reputation, and they just want that more. They want that competitive edge, and they're willing to take on those big areas, those monster areas. So yeah, hopefully we can go down that trajectory. And like, sometimes less is more. I've looked at it and thought, well, I'd probably like to have maybe 3 big whale clients or 3 niches per city, and just cover those capital cities. And then that'll, looking at the numbers and stuff like that, it's like you've got a pretty good relaxing income, once you set that up. Without the
whales are always better, right? Like, we've got a couple of those in our business that make up a decent chunk of our monthly revenue. And it's, I think also, like, we've talked about this a few times, but the client that pays you $5,000 and the client that pays you $500 a month, they're very different people with like different requirements of you. Like, the $500 a month client is going to be calling you all the time and just like, hey, I got one less lead than was promised to me this month, where like the $5,000 a month client is like, they're focused on bigger problems. They're not like nickeling and diming things. They've got tracking and stuff in place, but it's their mindset is different, right? Then, obviously if you don't deliver, they're not going to have any problem getting rid of you. But I definitely support the whale strategy. With our business, we actually, when we're qualifying clients, we're looking for those opportunities. We get a lot more excited when we have one of those that, hey, this guy is one that could be a big client for us that we could, expand into all these other areas. So congrats, Graham, man. Take it home. I hope you do what you're capable of here, and like keep your eye on the ball and focus on this thing, and turn this thing into a monster, man. I'm glad that you got the spring back in your step. That's important, man. So super cool. Right on. We got any more
Yeah.
wins? I think we got a first time caller on here. I think I saw Gareth pop on here. Welcome to the call, man. Happy to have you. I believe this is Gareth. Are you in front of a camera? I can't see everyone on here.
Yeah, he
Yes,
is.
I'm in front of. Yeah, I am.
Oh,
Yes,
right.
I
Yeah,
really-
we had a call last week. Thanks a lot for jumping on, Gareth.
Oh, he jumped
No,
on
thank-
last week. Okay.
No, we had a one-on-one call last week.
Oh, okay. Right
Hmm.
on. Cool, man. Well, welcome to the group. We're excited to have you, man. Hopefully you can get a lot out of this. What are you looking to do with your business? Just give us a little background on what your goals are.
Yeah, mate. Really quick one. I'm also from Australia, so hey, Graham. Just starting out. So I mean, you guys are a lot more advanced than I am. Have got one client, and in talks with a couple more, just tradesmen. With businesses that are established, but look, I've got a full-time job, and this is something I'm starting to do on the side. Have listened to a lot of your recordings, and I've learned a lot from you guys already. But the numbers that you guys are talking about sort of stagger me, and I think it's also a really good opportunity to help people who don't understand digital. So
Your audio is kind of cutting in and out. I'm not sure. I caught most of it.
yes, sorry.
There we go. It's good now.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, man, I know that the numbers, they can be staggering, and the revenue is a lagging indicator, right? It's something that happens after the work is done. And the skill set and learning this and the strategies and stuff, that is what really matters. And because revenue is a lagging indicator, it can seem like you're a lot further behind than you actually are with this stuff. The amount of time that it takes, like to really start cruising in this, it can go fast once you kind of get your playbook in line and you get things dialed in. Like, you can stack things up pretty quickly. So I don't want you to feel discouraged about that, man. We were all in your place, including myself, at one time. I think it took me 2 years to get to $4,000. And it wasn't because I was doing the wrong things. I was spending my time the wrong way. I was like getting distracted by shiny objects. There's like a lot of different groups out there. Like, well, this like SEO group does things this way, and this one does it this way. And I got to like $4,000 a month. And I was like, well, man, if I can get to 4,000, I can get to 8. I just need to focus on the things that created the revenue in the first place and block out everything else. So I've tried to condense that in this group and eliminate a lot of the things that I think don't matter or, are less important. I did a call with Greg a few days ago. And one of the things I want to point out is like, I've noticed that when like you kind of fall into these categories where like, hey, we need quick money. And for the quick money, we've got like a fast money strategy, but I don't think the fast money strategy, like pre-selling lead gen can be good. And it puts you under pressure. And especially if you're getting started, like what I've noticed though, is like where you really start to make money is when you have leads coming in from the lead gens. Like, so if you pre-sell lead gen and you spend a lot of money on ads, then like we did that and we lost money. And then I hired like ad experts, and then like I still lost money. And then, we've done other things where we've sold sites, and like, that usually ends up being profitable, but at the hourly rate is much less than building lead gen. And really the beauty in the business model is when you can get leads coming in that you're paying almost nothing for, and then you can just like sell those every month and put it on autopilot. So the key to getting there is to having the properties in place that are producing those things. So it's like, how do we do that? Well, let's build the properties. Let's get that in place. So like, an analogy I gave to Greg the other day when we were having our conversation is like, hey, I'm going to sell you this car. Gareth. It's like a beautiful car. It's black and it's fast, and it's got like the front of it's all curved and sporty, and it's leather inside. Do you want to buy this car? Or like, hey, Gareth, here's this like Ferrari. Why don't you take it and drive it around for a week and see if you like it? So that's kind of the difference between trying to sell something before you have it and when you have it and they can experience it and say, like with our leads, when we're not really paying for them, the sales process becomes very easy and it's more profitable and it's like more passive. So everything moves in that direction. So that's kind of like, I'm a big advocate for like build like 10 sites, maybe choose like 2 or 3 different niches, make sure that they're all like at least $1,000 minimum, learn from these niches. And after you've kind of gone through it a few times and you've got some paying clients in those niches, maybe get like 2 or 3 paying clients in a niche, see if you like this, what you're experiencing, then we scale. Okay, so that's like step 1. Then we scale after we've kind of established that niche down, go across the country or like, come into the United States. There's no reason with you in Australia, you could easily be selling here or vice versa, right? I think the United States is an awesome market. The competition is so low in so many different cities for so many valuable niches. And when you get that in place, man, the money just really starts to take off. And that's where you get to these bigger numbers. And it's not really that far away. You're like, if you built 10 sites and you kind of say, hey, I've really clicked on these 2 in the same niche. And I like this niche. I like these people. It seems like they're worth a lot of money. And then you build like 20 of those. I mean, that could be 20 grand in, 6 months, right? I know that there's this weird unspoken rule where people say like, hey, we're going to rank things in 3 months. And, we've done that a few times, but I think more often than not, it takes longer. And, we generally, when we get it in there, we get it locked in pretty hard. So it'll stay there for a long time. And, there's been a couple situations where we have had flaws in our system and we weren't monitoring things and things that were ranking for a long time dropped off, but we did almost no work on them for like 2 or 3 years. Now we're putting stuff in place to monitor that. But once you get it glued in there, like you can start focusing on more and you've got your process down, you start to get a team behind you. Like this thing can scale really fast. So hopefully that gives you some inspiration on this because we've seen a lot of people really take off. And I think one of the things that we're going to be putting in here is I'm going to build out training and it's going inside of the platform. So if you have a subscription, you'll have this training from A to Z on all these different things. And I'm going to be bringing in other people to teach their training and kind of build this like Netflix training library that's a part of for people that have a subscription. So I think some of that stuff could be really beneficial to you when you're getting started and going through things, having some like SOPs that you guys can just download and, sheets and scripts and emails and all sorts of things. So that's kind of what we're working towards. And that's a big goal for us in 2022 is to really get that launched and build up a nice library. But hey, man, we're excited to have you. And yeah, man, what part of Australia are you in, Gareth?
I'm from Melbourne. I'm in Melbourne. So, yep.
Graham, where are you at?
You stay out of Sydney, Gareth. There's going to be trouble, pal.
No, all good. All good. I'm just trying to, get my feet under the table, mate. So I'm a long way. Graham, I know who you are. I've seen you. We've chatted on it Messenger a few times. Yeah. So I suppose, to me, just joining this is a bit of a win for me. I've had a client, just for a long time, and I think it's time to just moving on. And I think, so that'll be a win.
Mate, you're amongst good friends here. Like this would be the best group that specifically focuses on lead gen. The SEO stuff's pretty good with Will. So, you've got a pretty good combo there, man. You're not going to get a better start than this because this is like the zero bullshit part of the business for learning. So you're amongst good friends.
Awesome.
And Patrick, just a shout out to you. I've honestly watched, mate, 20 videos, 30 videos of you guys already on high speed. And I think I've learned quite a lot already. But you actually genuinely seem to want to help people. And it's,
I love people, man. I do. I kind of feel like that's why I'm here is to help people. And there's a lot of different ways that like, whether it's through the software or through our agency or like trying to do coaching and stuff through here. It's really rewarding. And I know that for those of you guys that are focus on your bills right now. There was a time where I was there too. And you move through like I've talked about this, the Maslow's pyramid of needs, where you're like going through and you've got to get like your own security and stability, and you got to put food on your table. And then at some point you move into the self-actualization where you're focused on impact. And, you know, that's where I am is like, we're still trying to like increase our financial stuff, but everything seems to have like an impact component in what we're doing. And it's been so rewarding. And I'll tell you, like, it's been crazy how just trying to be a good person to people and help them. So many opportunities get presented to us, like strategic partnerships are showing up now. It seems like once a week. And, you know, that's going to make this platform better. It's going to make what we do better. We're going to have a lot of offerings that we can put in that from like other people's work where they want to be a part of this. And it's been, it's just been so rewarding. It's crazy. Like when you hear the cliche is like, when you focus on, or like the saying, like when you focus on other people, like the money's going to work itself out. And that's certainly been my experience. And when you're just trying to put food on the table, that seems hard to do. Like, right, when you're in that, like, I've got to like pay my rent, it seems like it's hard to do. But I'll tell you, if you can, even in that space, if you can focus on your clients and what your client needs, instead of like how you can get paid, that money thing will sort itself out. Like our bank accounts are relevant to the amount of value that we've provided to the world. Like I know everyone starts in different places, but there's a strong correlation to the value that you provide and what you get paid for things, right? So you can kind of use that as a pulse. But I appreciate the kind words. Patrick, I see your question in here. Is there a training on implementing the method you're talking about right now? So I don't know if you can give me a little bit more clarity on what that method is. I've been gabbing. I've been rapping here for like 10 minutes. Cool.
Yeah, he mentioned we have a plethora of Patricks here, but not Patrick Rulin. The other Patrick asked if you could expand on the philosophy of the service that you said to the guy, I guess, when you got that call about LeadSnap. So I think that would just be like the general pitch that you normally give about the agency. Yeah. I'll just go through that. I'll do a screen share and kind of run through it. I think I actually recorded the call. I record all the calls. Maybe I could chop that up and actually share it with you guys in the group, and you can kind of hear my real pitch in real time. But I will do it here. I know this is like one of the most requested things is, people struggle with sales. We're really strongly considering it would be like pretty quick without a lot of notice, doing an event in Florida. And I mentioned something about it last week and we got a lot of responses. We were trying to time it. Jeff and I are going to a mastermind for this group that we're in. And I would want to try to time it then, so that's only a few weeks away. But as a part of that, my plan would be to give you guys an action plan while you're there, and maybe do a lot of sales stuff with like closing deals, because I know that's something people struggle with. So when we're putting out those little polls and things like that, that's part of our intent, is really trying to understand like how we can build the training around giving you guys value for this stuff. So I'll just take you over and I will show you my pitch here that I did for him. I think the heat map, he's like they don't even have a GMB yet. They're a mold company, mold removal. I'll just load up one of these. I'll share my screen in 1 second here. While you're pulling it up, Patrick, somebody else put into the Facebook chat, Wayne Clayton, that he saw someone today who said to write out 100 reasons why clients should do business with you. So it's a great confidence building exercise. So if you think through like all the reasons why,
And if you can't fill the page, I guess come up with more, the more reasons you have. And if you keep them on hand, I can see how that would be a great confidence builder, because there is so much value in what we do. And sometimes we just, as we come in and learn the model and do our pitches, I think sometimes we don't even realize how much value we're offering. So I think really writing it down and acknowledging to ourselves, again, the confidence is key when you get on the call. If you have that list handy, or you've been through it, so you have the confidence in your head, it's just a really good exercise to go through. So thanks for sharing that in the Facebook chat.
Awesome. Yeah. So I think also, writing this stuff down, and then there's a lot of research. Jeff, you and I were talking about this the other day, is like, we all have different levels and different backgrounds, different levels of confidence and different backgrounds. And one of the things that has been proven time and time again is these like daily affirmations. And if you've read the book Think and Grow Rich, they talk about loading your subconscious. So, having these 100 reasons, and not just writing it down once, but studying it and believing it, like taking it from like, I want to become to I am, right? This last week, a week ago, Jeff, we were in Nashville for a mastermind with some really high level entrepreneurs. And we got into maybe a 45-minute conversation about this mindset. They were referencing a lot of different books. Atomic Habits was one of the ones that they love. I'm just starting with this Atomic Habits. I've never read it, but I know that, who was that? I think it was like Sierra or somebody or not Sierra. I can't remember who it was, but they were using that language. Can you straighten this out for me? Because I can't remember it exactly, Jeff. We're like, I am this, or I want to become. Do you remember?
Yeah, I mean, I think I even said it in one of my mindset videos, because that was a realization that I had, is that this process that I've been going through, and it's a long process. Like, I had a lot of fear and lack of confidence programming in my system. And as I kind of like went into the entrepreneurial journey and started really learning and, changing my mindset, like one of my mentors recommended that I do these affirmation type of things. And so I'd go run on the beach when I was living in California, and I would just yell at as loud as I could. Nobody could hear me because of the waves and everything, these affirmations. And it was like, at a certain point, I said them enough that I was like, wow, I actually believe that. Like, I'm starting, like, I really have the confidence, like I'm starting to believe that what I'm saying, And then more recently, over the last couple of months, maybe it's pretty recent, where I see that as I say different things, it's like, it's not that I'm just saying it. It's not that I just believe it, but I am that. It's like, that is what I am now. And so I think it's this process. And again, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a long time. It takes a lot of work, but going through those things a million times over, and just other, I think, points of confirmation in your life where you celebrate those wins. Patrick Ruland, that's another thing, is like really acknowledging. And the same mentor, it got me on that celebrate your wins things. Like, every time we get on a call together, she does this thing where it's like a gratitude, acknowledgement of gratitude. It's like, what are you grateful for in the moment? Like, that's how she starts every conversation. She's a big CEO coach. Like, that's how she starts every conversation with every CEO, everybody she talks to, from, the baggage handler to the CEO. Is like, what are you grateful for right now? And so I think just having all of that confirmation in your mind, like, you're literally reprogramming your subconscious mind. And it takes time to do that, depending on what kind of crap you were programmed with to begin with. So be patient with yourself. Always be looking forward to that possibility that eventually it's just going to seem so far away. When you're in that kind of reactive fear mode, you're literally reprogramming your entire system. So that's kind of what it's been for me.
Yeah, I love that. And I think there's like these different thresholds you kind of go through where first you don't really believe what you're saying. And then you start to have some belief in it. It's more of like, you're trying to convince yourself. And then finally you get to the spot where it's just like, you're certain that this is the case. And you're just like, it's more of like an acknowledgement of who you are. Like, I could say, like, I'm a business owner, right? I know that to be the case, right? But maybe when I first started and I was just getting started, I didn't really believe I was a business owner, even though I might have set up my LLC or whatever, right? So, like, you want to be moving towards that. And like, there's no one to say that you're really not these things, right? A lot of times, this confidence, like you've seen some people on these calls turn the corner, where if you look back on some of these older videos and then you see as they progress, and it's like they've become who they wanted to be through like this repetition and constant work. But I'm going to get into my pitch now on this. I'll show you guys pretty much exactly what I did the other day with this company. So had no plans of pitching these people, and then they just kind of like said, hey, we'd like to hear more about it. So they are in like Columbia, South Carolina, and they're in mold removal. So I came to this tool. This is Bright Local. There's no like subscription or anything required. It's brightlocal.com, and then local search results checker with dashes in between each word. So the good thing about this is it's good for explaining how things work. So then I'm right here, I'm just going to put in their city, Columbia, South Carolina. Okay, so this is going to give me the search results, because I want to show them what the search results look like, and we can get on the same page. So I came here and I explained to them like, hey, the search results change based on where you are. So I'm not in Columbia, South Carolina. So I want to just show you your competition, right? So this is the Google Ads area here. This is the Google My Business area. And then down here, we have some questions. There's some products. And then this is the organic area. So the area that gets the most clicks for local services is Google My Business area, which is why we have this tool that pays a lot of attention to this, right? So this is a really important area to rank well in. In this area, it changes as we move across town, right? So we want to be first. This is second, and this is third. There's 3 spots in here, right? And if I did a search from over here, and then I drove down this 20 over here, and now I'm over here and I do a search, these results are going to be completely different, right? So what we have is we have a tool that measures these results as you move across town. This is this company here. I went through and I grabbed the map URL while we're on the call because I didn't have this preloaded, right? And I said, when you set this up, they hadn't set up the first Google My Business, and I let them know, like, it's a simple process. This is what you're going to do. You're going to log in to Google. You're going to request this postcard, and this postcard's going to come. So you're kind of setting this up through Google, and that postcard just like verifies the fact that you guys have a real business, right? That you guys are real people. They have some connection with the real world through this postcard and being able to get the code that's in it. So that's what these people did, and that's what you guys are going to need to do. Whether I help you or not, this is an important step for you guys to do. So each one of these, once you set it up, there's a unique identifier, and I can take that identifier and I can put it into our tool here. So I'm going to see if I can grab the, I did a search for mold removal. I know that some of you guys, we're working towards making the fact that these filters are turned on more obvious. For those of you guys that have struggled where it hasn't shown you the results and you think that they're being removed, we never delete the heat maps. They're just like the filters on. So if you just come into this advanced search and change the time, I think it's set to last 30 days. You can just change it to all time and it will show you all your searches. So I ran this. This isn't their company. This was the number one that happened to come up on that one search. I also explained to them that, because this, like, things change as we move across town, just because this company's first here on this search, they're probably not first in other places. There's probably a lot of other places. So we don't automatically just assume that they're the top dog in town. So that's why this tool is great. And I'll tell you, most other marketing companies don't have this. This is a great line for you guys to use when you're pitching. Like, let them know that this is a secret weapon here that a lot of people don't have, right? So, like, look, a lot of other people, they don't have this tool. So what this does is lets us know where we're weak and where we're strong. And our goal is to turn this one all the way into every spot on the map, right? So the way this is working is this company is being evaluated for this word as we move across this map. So where this 2 is, that 2 is if someone had done a search at that exact spot. And if I click in here, we can get a little bit more information. So if I were standing on this like 176 right here at this spot and I did a search, then I would come up third in that little area that I was showing you. So the goal is to make these all be ones, because that's going to create a lot more business for you, right? So the way that we do that, there's a lot of different strategies that we can use. So for instance, I know that this is in this like 7 Oaks area where we're a 3. And if I were to get some Google reviews that mention 7 Oaks and mold removal, then I'm going to improve my ranking for those terms. And it doesn't mean that I get 1 review. There's no set rule of how much I need, but Google is looking at this and they're trying to decide who is the most relevant companies to show based on the quality of the site. So that means the quality of the content that's written. And there's a bunch of other factors. I don't want to dive into all that, but one of them is like how relevant. So if somebody is mentioning mold removal at 7 Oaks and that keeps popping up, and then Google is deciding when someone searches for mold removal in 7 Oaks, who should they show? It makes sense that they would show mine because I have all this reference to it, right? So by building out some pages on my website about 7 Oaks, by naming some of my pictures with mold removal 7 Oaks, both on my website and those that I loaded to the Google My Business. We have this really cool feature within our platform that allows you to schedule posts. So posts for Google My Business are these little offers that show up for like a week. So if I mention 7 Oaks in that post and I kind of put some like geo relevance to this area, that can help me move. So once we start doing these things and we attack this tool allows us to be hyper local. And I'll tell you, if you've never had a #1 ranking for something with this, you're missing out. It's a big game changer. And I actually went into our phone system and I showed them the calls that come in. So I showed them, hey, we have 10,000 phone calls that come in a month for our clients. This is what we do. And the strategies that have created all these calls are by turning all of these into ones all across here. And a lot of times what we'll do, I'll tell you, so the guy's name was Chris. And I say, I'll tell you, Chris, I'm a super competitive person. I don't like losing. And when we take on a client and we're looking at their competitor, it's like a war has been started. They don't know that there's a war being started, but this company, like if this environmental mold solutions was your competitor, they're going up on a dartboard and we're throwing darts at them every day. I'm coming for this company and I want to just absolutely demolish them. So part of our strategy is we'll not just set up one Google My Business, we'll set up them all over town. So a lot of times we'll be 1, 2, and 3, and then we'll take over the organic section because we'll build out multiple sites. And this is how we've taken these companies that are at a few $100,000 to a few $1 million a year. And this is why we don't do a lot of advertising, because when you do that, you get a lot of referrals. So that's kind of like some of the pitch that I put in there. And I say it with that tone and that certainty, and people believe it because I believe it. Like, this is like going back to the self-affirmation thing, is like, I already know what's going to happen. Like when we go into this, we do a weekly meeting and our managers talk, and we're just like brainstorming on how we're going to just like destroy the competition. How many sites are we going to build? How many GMBs? Like, what are we going to do so that we completely take over this map area here? And it becomes our focus. We have a lot of resources within our agency. And you know, what other mold company is going to have people working on it every single week with this level of knowledge? It's only a matter of time before the dominoes tip. The way that we set up our pricing is we do a startup fee, and then we don't charge again until the leads start to come in. And you know, we're going to charge based on what the value is. We don't do contracts in our business, so you can cancel anytime. But what I found is, you know, if I'm putting like $5 in your pocket and you're giving me $1 back each time, like how long do you want to do that? Would I put $10 in your pocket? Would it be worth it to give me $2? Right. So I found if I put people in that sort of situation, they don't leave. And this is why we don't really lose a lot of clients. This is why we get the referrals, is we become a partner. And, you know, their response is like, it seems like it would be really stupid for us not to hire you. You guys are like a secret weapon. And I think we're ready to move forward. And that's where I said, okay, yeah, that sounds great. I didn't want to like get into all this, the meeting time. I had another meeting right after it. So I use the line to hey, I want to have you talk to, I'm the CEO. I usually don't do these sales calls. It's actually been several years. I'm more focused. I thought you guys were signing up for a demo of the software. That is something I want to really understand with our clients for the software. So I'm gonna have our Jeff, who's our director of sales, reach out to you and set up an appointment, and he'll take it from there. And he coordinates with our managers to make sure everything's being done. So that is another positioning. There's so much like positioning that goes on. I hope you guys picked up on some of that and kind of the phrasing and how we do it. You guys can play this back and kind of learn from it. I think Patrick was the one that requested that. Was that?
Yeah, that was Patrick.
Patrick, was that good? Does that give you some direction? I think Gareth also wanted to see that. Hopefully that gave you guys some value there. That was the pitch I gave almost word for word to those people.
Yeah, that's pretty standard pitch that Patrick does. And that's where, the pitch that I learned from. And I take as much of it, you have to make it your own. I don't do it quite as well as Patrick does as far as positioning. Patrick, in my opinion, is pretty much masterful at positioning, but I'm getting there. I learn, I tweak it. It's good for me to see him do it again and again and again. I pick up something new every time. So Patrick is also asking, what are you using to build your lead gen sites? WordPress, and what builder? Is it WordPress and then what builder?
Yeah, so it's all WordPress for us. You guys, there's like, it's cheap to pay like a WordPress master. So, and it's cheap to host it, or there's a reason that it's like the most popular building platform on earth, right? It's so like, you don't have to be a WordPress master to get this stuff in place. You can go to onlinejobs.ph and hire somebody for $10 or with 10 years experience for $3 or $4 an hour. There's themes that you can buy that are like 50 or 60 bucks. And then almost immediately you can have something in place. So that's definitely what I would recommend. I know that we've used like Elementor, but I think, so there's a couple of, there's someone from our team on this who knows the answer. Hey, can you throw it? You know who you are. Can you throw it in the chat, in our Slack chat? And I'll mention that. I know that we just purchased a new builder that we think is going to be a lot faster. I just can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. He got the message. It's called Oxygen Builder. So we have 3 WordPress developers on our team that are really strong developers, and they've been dealing with like whatever speed issues and stuff like that we've run into, and they want to really move to this Oxygen Builder. They love it. They trust it. So I trust in their opinion on that type of stuff. Do you show the GeoGrid from several locations within the area, or just stick with their business location? Because ranking in the top 3 differs on what location. Actually, you're right. I missed a couple pieces. Let me open this back up. I did go through and explain to them the averaging thing. I think is really powerful. So that was a part of my pitch too. So I'll just like insert this into the middle of this pitch. So Jeff, give me a thumbs up. You can see my screen, right? Okay,
yep.
Cool. All right. So what I do is I came over here and I said, look, these are the people. So this environmental mold solutions, we can tell that they're the #1 company in town for this term because of this average right here is 2.15, right? So what this is it's an average of all these. If we added all these up and divided by the spots, the average would be 2.15. So that's what that equals. And we can see the parts of town, the Northwest, are at 2.21. So it's just like taking these like quadrants, 25%. So what we need to do is we need to move ahead of these guys, right? So we'll monitor this. This becomes like a math game, right? Where we know our numbers and we know their number, and we just keep on, like, once we move up above them, this will move down, and then we'll put another location and another location above them and keep sliding them down. Just because they're ranking really well doesn't mean that they're like awesome. It just means that they're better than the other people in town, right? So I kind of go through that. I will also pull up sometimes, like, I don't know if you guys know this, but if you click on this, I love this feature. It goes right out to their GMB, and then I can evaluate this further, and I can open up their website and like dive into it. But it's important to keep it simple, guys. Like, you don't want to get lost in the weeds with this stuff. If they're asking questions and you need to like prove that your knowledge more, then just do it from a high level. Don't go into like all the backlinking stuff, you can just kind of like browse through it a little bit so that you don't want to lose them. You don't want their eyes to glaze over. These people are-
My experience is that it's more about the positioning, like focus on learning the positioning, and then you don't need to go into those details. Like if they're not sold on sort of, the topics that Patrick's covered already, going into backlinking isn't going to help. It's their eyes are going to glaze over for sure. Alfredo's asking, why are you using 1 mile between the dots? Can you explain that so we can all understand the difference in what the heat map is going to tell us based on the distance between the grid or between the points on the grid?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of become our standard with what we do is 1 mile. It's going to cover a big area. You're not going to really rank really well. And so you're like doing so for a decent size, or you're not going to produce a lot of leads unless, for the most part, unless you're ranking for a good size area. You could use smallers. It's going to be a lot more competitive the larger the grid gets, right? Because you're competing against, there's more people, right? Like if let me take the best basketball player out of 100 people versus out of 500 people or 10,000 people, right? The competition is going to get stiffer the more space that we cover, right? Which, that can be a double-edged sword. This is how we do it in our agency. This is typically what we're measuring on is a 13 by 13, 1 mile apart. It can also be good, like if you're wanting to really stack the deck in your favor when you're giving the presentation by choosing a larger area, maybe the competition will start to be a little bit more fierce. Like if you just chose like a 1/4 mile grid around their location, they could think that they're killing it, and they're just like killing it in this, whatever 6 square mile area, which, if you're in a really populated city, then that can be really powerful. But that's kind of my mindset. Alfredo, does that make sense?
Yeah, that was my question. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather. So at the beginning, do a 1 mile. Is that like our default thing? I don't really understand it. I can do the pitch fine, but I don't understand the 1 mile, 5 miles, 13 by
Yeah,
15,
let me explain that. So that's just the distance between the points, right? So if I do 1 mile, then they're like right here. There's 1 mile between this point and this point.
You're not sharing.
Oh, shoot. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's confusing as well, Patrick. That was one of the things when I kind of like started to learn was that if I have the same square, what does it mean if that's a 1 mile or a 2.5 mile between the points? Because it's still the same amount of space in the square. So I think it's hard to understand how that plays out.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to show you this from 2 angles and make it really clear. So this is a finished heat map, right? Right now, there's 1 mile between this point and this point, and there's 1 mile between this point and these 2 points, right? So that's what that means. There's 1 mile between these. So if I change it to a 1/2 mile, these would be closer together. So let me step out of this and we'll just like do a new heat map in here. I don't know if you guys noticed this. We added what I think is a really cool feature. Just kind of flew in under the radar, this history feature. So basically any heat map that you run, you can now just like grab it. It's saved in this list. So every single one that you run, you have the option to, I'll just choose this Ace Roofing Company, which for some reason is out in the middle of the ocean. All right, let me choose a different one. Let's do this. Is that the same? Going to give me the same result? Okay, we'll choose this. Okay, all right, cool. So this is looks like a roofing company. So let's just say I search for like roofing contractor, right? And I'm going to set up the distance between the points at 1 mile. Okay, and then I'm going to make it a 13 by 13 grid. So with our software, we don't charge based on the grid point. I know that there's some other like competitors out there. They use this weird convoluted system where it's like the amount of points. So I thought it was stupid the way they did that. So we just charge for the search. So you get more data when you do 13 by 13. But for whatever reason, if you didn't want that, you have the option to choose those. So our default is always 13 by 13 with 1 mile. So now you can see this is the size of the grid, right? And if I change this to 1/2 mile, look how it got smaller. It zoomed in, right? So now the grid's smaller because there's only a 1/2 mile between the points. You have this option. If I do this, let's say I draw this square around this grid. So nothing's really going to change. It's putting those grid points into here. But now I have the option, I can change this and I'll make it this big. So now who knows how much distance is between these points? Because now I've changed this. You still have 13 by 13, but now you're in a larger space, right? If I do it again, now there's more distance. So it's no longer what it says here because I've altered that by stretching this grid, right? So does that clear it up? I don't know if I addressed the question. Alfredo, does that make sense?
Yeah. It was excellent. I just want to know, like, default, do 13 by 13, 1 mile. Boom.
That's what we do. And like, there could be reasons, like, I'm trying to cover a bigger area, and sometimes I'll do like if like let's say that I get my heat map report back and I'm doing really well in the top right in the Northeast as well as the entire South. I'm doing really well, but up in this Northwest, maybe I'm not doing as well, and I've got kind of like mixed results. So what I could do, and I'm thinking about the averaging too. So now I'm going to just focus on this, right? And it's going to do the same thing. Now I've got this divided up into the Northeast and the averages, right? So when you cover that whole area, you're getting an average of that whole area. But maybe hey, I want to really drill down on this area and focus on this area. So now maybe I'm going to just like make my heat map. I'm going to get more data points on this smaller area. So now instead of it being like 1 mile, maybe this is 1/10 of a mile between these points. And I'm going to know exactly how we're ranking all over this smaller area. So there's reasons to do both ways, right? If I'm just trying to get like a general pulse on our ranking for a city, then like the larger grid makes sense. And, like, let's do this real quick. I think I'm going to move over to, let's see here. I really want to go to Las Vegas for a second. Okay. So we started our business when I was living in Vegas. And because of that, a lot of our original sites were in Vegas. This is probably not the best way to do this, but I'm going to get there eventually. Okay. All right. So go down here. And what happens a lot of times when you try to do Vegas, because it's like a sprawling city, and it's same for like Phoenix or something like that, is like it will draw like the 13 by 13, depending on where your Google My Business is, it will look something like this, maybe a little bit bigger, like something like that, right? So that's not enough for me to cover the city. So I want to know how I'm ranking across the whole city, because my goal is to take over this entire area. So I will draw this massive grid here, and it will, and I'm going to include down here because I know that there's like some people down in this southeast Henderson area. So this is a huge grid. And if I rank all over this entire city, this thing is going to produce a lot of money for me. I know it because this is a big area and there's a lot of people in this area. And if I'm ranking over an area like this, and we have a lot of sites where that's the case. We had an air conditioning site that was ranking, it probably still is, for like AC repair over this entire area. It was in the top 3, which is like ultra competitive. And when we look at our calls during the summer, there's a ton of calls coming in. It's worth a lot of money. So that this is kind of our goal, but you may need to divide this into smaller areas to, I just freaked it out. Hold on a second. Maybe I can fix this. It did not like that. I don't know who the developer of this stuff is. So you may need to kind of like zoom in on smaller parts of that to get more dialed in while you're doing your research process. It just kind of depends on your goals, but that 13 by 13 is just like a rough feel. If you're in a bigger city, then like cover the entire city, set up a goal, monitor that stuff. So what we do is we report on it. My managers, they have the sites, the priority sites that they're responsible for. And on a weekly basis, I think we changed it to be a little bit less than that now, but we're getting that heat map average and we're monitoring that very closely. So we'll put in like 7 to 10 keywords and we'll run that thing every like 12 days and we'll see if we're improving. We want to see the trend of like, what direction are we moving? how can we keep improving this? And I know when that number becomes like less than like 6 or 7, the calls will start to come in. If we get that number under 3, that heat map average under 3, then like we're dialed in, we're locked in on that market now. And like the leads should be flowing. We've had it happen a few times where we had no reviews on something and our heat map average is like a 2. And we're not really getting a lot of leads. And then we go and we like make a concerted effort to get reviews, and then the calls really start to come in. So you need to start monitoring this stuff. And man, I spent a lot of time in this last week on the reporting and how it's going to work and how it's going to look. And I'm excited to get this piece to you guys, because I think when you can start to get a report that's automatically emailed to you with like heat map averages and like Google Analytics traffic and all this information on like a weekly basis, you look at it, say like every Friday, and like, okay, this is going to help me build my game plan for next week so that I can move things in the right direction. So we're working towards that. Jeff and I were on a call earlier today with one of the masterminds that we're involved in, and the guy who runs it, really, really smart, brilliant guy. But he was talking about how this guy scaled his business. I can't remember what industry it was in, but he went from like 0 to 4,000 people in the course of a few years, 4,000 employees. And the guy
was Uber. He was talking about Travis, the CEO of Uber.
Yeah. So these are the people that,
yeah.
This guy's name's Dan Martell. He's friends with these people, and he has these stories where he's like, how did you guys go so quickly? And he's like, well, I only get 7 reports a day. I get 7 reports every day, and I just look through it. So the reports are like, he's got departments that are managing their people, and the departments are giving him the report on how, like, he's got his North Star metric and the different numbers from these different departments. And he's just looking over these numbers and seeing if things are going. And then he works with a department head to make sure that he's coaching them, and they go out and they're responsible for their results. Right. So for me, that was a huge takeaway, because we're running 2 different businesses, and there's a lot to be managed here. And I'm like, how can I manage all this stuff? And, to have this reporting, which is what I'm trying to create for you guys with the system, is like, how can I give these people awesome reporting so that they can just have it emailed to themselves? If they want to do it daily, and they can just look at different parts, or weekly to kind of keep a pulse on some of the things that maybe move slower, like the heat map, right? It's going to take us a while to move those numbers. Whatever you measure, it gets better, right? That's the thing, is like what's measured gets done, what's measured improves, right? So we need to do that, and you need to course correct based on the results of these measurements. And that's a big part of what we're trying to build into the system for you guys. I'm using my agency as the guinea pig of like, what do we need? And then how do I coach people so that they're monitoring these things, that like, where did we struggle? How can we fix that? And then let's apply this, let's build it into the system. There's some, like, we're going through so much software right now, and like paying for like, who knows how many different subscriptions, where I'm trying to pull these things, the best things of these other systems out of this and put it in here for you guys. Right. So I'm excited for where this is going. There's some awesome stuff. I'm going to share some stuff with you guys now.
Patrick's asking what tech you use for sales call, Loom or Zoom. I haven't personally done a demo like Patrick just did, because we haven't done any like cold outreach. It's always a referral, or has been a referral of late. And so it's less necessary to go into that kind of stuff. Like, I haven't been closing new business that way, but in this particular case, Patrick did that because it was coming in through sort of like a blind side. It wasn't expected to be a sales pitch for the agency.
Yeah, that's right. So I used Screencast-O-Matic, right? When I was doing the like recordings and pitches, I would use that. And then I used to use a software called Banana Tag that would let me see like when someone's clicking on things. But then it got worse. It stopped working as well. And then like for our meetings, we're always using Zoom, and Zoom's cheap, and I think it's awesome. I think it's like $15 a month or something stupid like that. And then you can, like, what we do is, you guys see, is like they'll give you a personal ID, and then we just like I created a page, right? So it's like, what if you're on LeadSnap, it's leadsnap.com/Zoom, and that just redirects to my personal ID. So it makes it look like it's like this branded thing. And then we just like send them that link with our company name. It looks really professional. It's great to have this stuff and like Zoom. Zoom's so easy to set up and use, right? And you can like annotate on there if you need to point something out. So that's kind of the tech we use. And then obviously our software here is a huge part of our selling for us, like it has been in the past. And so that's like the main tech. I wouldn't get too in the weeds with you know, unnecessary pieces. I think like if you guys, like I've said this and it's crazy because people will come to me and like, hey, I could really use some help. I could really use some coaching and try to make it a policy to try to help as many people as I can, but it's tough with getting pulled in a lot of directions. And I'll carve out like 30 minutes and I'll give people my honest advice on what I think they should do. And then I'll talk to them like 2 or 3 months later and check in, and they haven't done any of it and they don't have any more results. This is what we do. This is what has worked. I've seen the people execute it and it's worked really, really well. If you guys can trust me on this and block out some of this other noise and just like follow this stuff. If you follow this and participate on these calls and ask your questions, we will get you there. Like there's no doubt in my mind. Just a question, are you going to take this and do you have the discipline to block this stuff out? If you look at Spencer was at a couple $1,000s a month. And then he started using the heat map and he got it to $10,000 a month. Then Spencer and we jumped on a call and I gave him like this. Well, I did it on a call here, the group strategy, like how to like pitch the heat map in groups. He had a couple questions. I could tell that he was really making effort. We got on a call, we tweaked it. And then he went from $10,000 to $25,000 a month in like 1 month, just following our strategy. And he had been in SEO for like, I think he was in Corey Long's group and a couple other groups, and he's bouncing around trying to figure this out. And he finally just decided, I'm going to lock down on this. I'm going to follow this. And it exploded. And it's not that any of these other ones can't do it. This is what I know works for us. And if you guys follow this stuff, I have all the confidence in the world that you'll get to the same spot. Like, it just seems like a question of going through the steps. Whether I walk through this door or Jeff walks through this door, that it's the same room on the other side, right? It's just like, are you going to choose to do the steps necessary to walk through the door, right? If you do them, it's going to be the same result for everyone. That's my opinion. And I feel very confident in saying that. I've seen it executed so many times. Okay, guys, I want to get in and I want to show you. I know that we're over an hour already, but I had some stuff planned to show you guys. We're about to release these. I just keep on finding like small issues. The white labeling and the permissions for the phone system are about to be out. So I'm going to share this with you and give you a little demo of how this works. Okay, so this is not available with your guys' system yet. This is a test system that we have that we use internally, okay, for like our development. So it goes, we build it out and then we push it here. And then after we beat on it and we're confident in it, then we release it. And then you guys tell me that you found bugs and I get frustrated and we fix those. But this is the first phase of like, so I've got this account here. I've got, let's go over to our, if you guys notice, if we go to settings, there's this option that says white label. So we're releasing the white label in beta. Okay, so this is going to be a beta release for us. So you're not going to have to pay anything, but you're going to use it with the understanding that like, hey, we haven't, potentially there's bugs. I just want to test it for a little while. I hate it when you guys are paying for something and there's any kind of issue. It drives me crazy. So you're gonna give this out for free for a little while and we'll see how long it takes before we've got everything ironed out. So basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna enter your domain in here. And once you enter that domain in there, it's gonna do all kinds of like things on the back end for us. There's a couple of, we're building out the training, but you're gonna have to go and edit like wherever your domain registrar is, you just got to set up a couple records and point it. But so essentially, if I were to set up something like, if I owned this domain, Patric.com, I would click this, and then it's going to give you guys some instructions on what to do next. And this is where people could go. they would no longer be going to LeadSnap or lead generated. They would go to patric.com and this would load. You can set this up as like, so maybe my agency is, I've got like an agency website that's Patric Agency. Got this new keyboard that's weird. Okay, patricagency.com. And maybe I want to have like CRM. So I could set up a subdomain, and then when people go there, they would have their own separate login. Okay, so that is kind of like the domain setup. There's an area here where you can go to the login page and you can upload your own logo, right? And you can change the text color, the button color, the background color. You can choose your own logo. So this is just going to be for a login page. Let me pull this up real quick. Give me 1 second and I'll show you what this kind of looks like here. Thank you for your patience. Thought I had everything set up, but I forgot to do this part of it. All right. All right, Jeff, do we have any questions while I'm trying to get this part of it sorted out real quick?
I'm not seeing any right now. Tech. We answered the tech questions. Patrick was kind of asking before if we split it up into some kind of an initial call, you know, and then I do the sales, final sales call. No, we haven't done that, Patrick. We really haven't done any kind of like cold prospecting in quite a while. So we haven't needed to do that. What I'm doing on a consistent basis is trying to fill the holes in the agency of maybe past domains that are being built up and are starting to rank, leads coming in. So I already have leads in my hand when I go to contractors. So it's less necessary for me to do like a full prospecting video or to even get them onto any kind of like a video call to show them our system. I can generally, because I've done it a million times now, explain what I have. And generally I'm trying to get them to agree to take a few leads. And if they want to maybe see a heat map or something later on, once I get them more engaged, then I'll do that. But we have to go fast because we have so many assets in place and sites start to rank, especially in the spring. Right now, it's a little bit dead, you know, more dead. But once spring rolls around, I mean, these things start popping and it's like I have 10, 15, 20 sites to sell at a given time that are kind of like, you know, producing enough leads that would warrant a fee. In the meantime, when the leads are lower, either out of season or it's just the asset isn't producing as well, I'm kind of like curating my sort of like farm team of potential contractors that could take those leads. So I'll like reach out and I'm real hands off, kind of like not pushy sales type. I'm just like, hey, do you do concrete work over here in this area? And they're like, yeah. And it's like, hey, well, I got this guy who needs this patio done or whatever. Are you interested? I do, you know, in referral work, and I kind of just take it real as an easy, you know, ease them in. And so then I know or have a pretty good idea if they're the right contractor once we can get those assets producing better. And if I have a really good contractor that I know is going to be a really good client or could be a really good client, maybe I'm only getting a few leads a month or a week or whatever, it just doesn't warrant even a fee, then I'll have the team go and just put that on a priority and juice it up so that we can get that person engaged immediately. So it's kind of a little bit of a different situation for us, but I wouldn't see any scenario where we would have a flow where Patrick would be doing an early call and I would be doing the close or vice versa or anything. Trying to eliminate Patrick as much as I can out of the process. That's why I'm here. So that's kind of how we do it.
Cool. Hopefully that made sense. All right, let me resume the share here. All right, cool. So you guys can see this is where I'm controlling it from. So this is, I'm logged in. This is our developer account here. You guys cannot get an account here. So we've had people try to register. It's not going to work. This is just something we use internally. Okay. So it's just like what you guys have, but with the things that we're building and testing. Okay. So you can see I've set this up here. This is the weird domain that we're testing on right now. And you can see that I'm logged into this domain now. If you look at these, the system settings has the colors here. So if I go over here, you can see this is the logo that's showing up here, right? So I know these colors don't look great, and I can change that. If I just go here and I'll make it this green color here. Okay. And I click on save. So now on this other domain, if I just refresh this, you'll see that it's going to change that. So you can kind of change this to whatever you want, whatever branding you want. This logo here is being pulled from this logo. And we also have the favicon, right? So up here is the favicon in the tab, right? So you can change all of this stuff here, right? And you can do the same for the login page. So I think if let me just grab this real quick, and I'm going to go into an incognito window real quick. And you guys will see we have this pretty generic login page right here, right? So this will, you can change this however you want to. You can change, so this setting is controlled by this over here on the login page, right? So you have the opportunity to change the button colors, the text, the background photo, all this stuff is really in complete control. And then you have email settings right here where you can set up, like, you will not have the possibility to send a message to someone through the white label system unless you have an email set up your own. We're trying to do everything we can to protect the identity of our original platform from the people that you're white labeling it from. So for instance, there's no, like right now, if you guys don't set up your emails, and it might come from like admin, like your lead might be sent to your client from admin at LeadSnap.com, right? But with this, we're locking it down, and pretty soon you're not going to have the ability to send emails unless you've added your own email through our system too. So we're going to be changing that in the near future. So that's the white labeling stuff that we're about to release. You can see that we have it working. There's just a couple like bugs here and there. We want it to change out the icons and everything, right? So like this stuff here, we need to get it so it changes this based on your color choices. So we're almost finished with that, but and then you can use the user roles to really, like if you go in here and you look at the settings for users and user roles, so you can use this to turn on and off the like what they have access to, right? So if I go in here and I look at the sample client, we have like, this is where I can give them access to the different parts of the system. So right now, if you turn on the phone system, they'll have access to the entire phone system. We have another update that we're about to release where it's going to change that. Let me just pause this real quick and I can try to show you how this looks without exposing our internal stuff here. Settings, user roles. Are you guys excited for this white label stuff? Because I think it's going to be huge for you guys. You guys can start to, you can really start to sell this system on your own and like charge your clients for it. And reputation management is going to be huge for this. Like being able to sell this with not having the fear that someone's going to come and undercut you on price, right? So I think it's going to be a really awesome add-on. All right, so let's resume the share. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like when we add in the phone system. You guys are going to have the ability to turn off these different sections within the phone system, the call section, the text, whether they can see the call flows, whether they can see the numbers and the port number. So you can decide whether you turn on and off these parts of it right here, right? So these permissions correspond with this. And then you can take it a step further and say, hey, I want them to be able to view the calls, but they can't actually create a new call or make an outgoing call, or they can't edit or delete any of the existing calls. You can turn that off and you can build this into a user role, and then you assign the user role to a user as you invite them. So this applies to the white label too. So whatever settings you give them, you can turn on and off all the different parts and pieces of the system on the left side. And then even within those pages, that's kind of what this is like, you can decide if they can view, edit, create, or delete. If you give them view privileges, this stuff is working kind of like in two different directions, right? So this is working on a company level. So if they have permission to a company, so let's say they have like Joe's Garage Door Repair, they have permission to that, and that's the only company that they have permission to. So when you give them permission to the calls and you give them like view access, they're only going to be able to view the calls for the company that they're assigned. And these permissions are only going to apply to those companies. Does that make sense? That's kind of how that works. And that's going to give you guys really, I mean, you guys already have really granular control with all these different parts of the system. The phone system is one that's, you guys don't have these permissions yet. So we're about ready to launch this. We're really close, probably in the next few days, we'll launch this phone system. I just found a couple final bugs, and then I sent that over to our developer. I'm hoping he'll have those fixed tomorrow, and I can test on, test tomorrow evening, and then we can, maybe launch it on Friday or Monday. I like to try to be thorough with the testing, but I know some of you guys have asked like, hey, why can't my client see the calls, or why is my client seeing all the calls? It's because we don't have this. Right now, the phone system isn't on or off. But once we put this in here, that will change that, and you'll be able to really get really good control on what they see. Cool. All right. Jeff.
Sweet. Yeah. The one question is, do we have an affiliate program? Muy importante.
What was that last? Oh yeah, we do have an affiliate program, guys. We haven't pushed it much because there's a part of it that's like broken internally. And I fired the developer who was working on it, but I'm going to, we're going to swing that back around. We have an affiliate program. If you sign people up, then like it will be credited. It's just the measurement of it right now is not working correctly. So we're going to build out an affiliate page that explains how it works, but this is basically going to be it. There's going to be increments of 10. So it's going to start off at 20%. So if you enroll 10 people, those 10 people, you get 20% ongoing for whatever they spend.
Can you show them where to get their link? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I will. I'm
Okay.
gonna explain this part of it first though.
My bad.
So the first 10 people will be at 20%. The next 10 people will be at 30%. Everyone after that will be at 40%. Okay. So that's how it's going to work. And it's 40% ongoing. There's some parts that I'm unsure of how to do this. Like our phone system, we have a pretty small margin. So I'm like, it's definitely going to apply to the CRM part of it. But on the phone system, we have a lot of variable costs associated with that. So I just need to think about that. But I think it's awesome. I know that you guys can probably you probably have guesses on what we spent on building this software and this company. It's huge. And to be able to get 40% ongoing for never having built out a piece of code in the software is I mean, you're essentially owning 40%. Let me make this clear because we've had issues. You don't own, just because you're an affiliate does not give you any ownership in this company. Let's make that clear. So there's no ownership. You get access to 40% of what comes in. All right. So yeah, that's, you got to meet that criteria. We want to have affiliates that are engaged, and I'm going to make a huge deal out of the affiliates, right? I want to have once we get this affiliate program popping off, I want to have contests for the top affiliates, awards. We'll probably end up doing at some point. My vision for this is to kind of have a weekend. Maybe it's going to be a cruise or some sort of hey, we're going to fly in our top affiliates. We're going to put them up in hotels. We're going to make this weekend all about them and do all sorts of events and just really take care of the people that drive business towards us. We appreciate those people, and I want to build an awesome culture, do special trainings for the affiliates, set them up for success. So with the software coach that I have that I was just mentioning, the guy who's friends with those guys from Uber and Airbnb and all these other SaaS platforms, he's got some awesome training on affiliates. So I'm following his lead on this, and I'm excited to really just make it's going to be a huge part of our future business in my vision. Okay, so the way that you can get your affiliate stuff is I will share my screen now, and then this will be the final thing. We're going to call it a wrap after this. All right. So you guys can see my screen, right? Jeff, we're good. Somebody? Yep. Okay, cool.
Yep.
All right. So up here under your name, there is a referrals area. And if you click on that, you can come in here and you can see that there's this referral link. And if I click copy, and if somebody clicks on this and they follow this will take them to the spot where they can sign up, and this will take them right to the home page. But basically how it works is if they come to our site, it's going to put a cookie on their computer, and then I think it lasts like 2 weeks. So if they sign up within the next 2 weeks after that, it builds this association between you and them, right? So if you guys are ever trying to pitch this to groups of people, I'm happy to jump on a call and help you with this, help you close somebody on this. If you need some like backup with this, you can bring me on and I can demo this and help you sell this in front of this. And, we can do it all through your referral link. So I think it's awesome. I think it's super powerful. And I think you guys, we've got people on our team. I gave the same deal to the people that are on our team, and they're all building out sites to market this and advertise this. And, they've got people signing up through this stuff. So, to be able to get 40% of something like that ongoing, like I would build out all sorts of blog networks if it were, and I'm going to do that myself. Like I'm going to be competing against myself to try to bring these people in. But, all right, Jeff, we got any final questions? Or are we good to sign off?
That is all I see. I think we are at a great stopping point right here.
I got one question, guys.
Yeah.
Little bit of a running debate in another group about the APIs. So we talk APIs like with you guys, we were able to set up our own API through LeadSnap. I'm not too concerned about that because it's our own API and we make sure that our house is clean. But then you've got things like Publer, Posto Plan that you integrate with your GMB, Endorsal, like for review harvesting, things like that. So I've been told and warned that the whole house of cards can come down because of using these APIs like Publer for social posting, things like that. Have you guys, you guys have obviously got a lot of, Google My Business assets. I know that shit happened in the past because you had editability where people were editing, services and phone numbers and that sort of cracked the egg. I get that. But these other APIs are only really for just putting updates on your GMBs, like images and stuff like that. But I've been warned away from it and said, no, you should get your VAs to log in individually, which I think is more riskier. That's just me, right? If you've got someone in the Philippines that's logging in and out, and using VPSs and trying to game the system. What's your thoughts on this API thing, man? Because I'd hate to lose like 200 or 300 GMBs in one strike because I'm trying to save time on auto scheduling posts and things like that.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it's a great question. I know that there's concern, and I've heard these things from other people. So let's talk about the API and what it is meant to be used for. So it is meant, Google created the API. Google My Business team created this API with the intent of it being used in software to manage a bunch of locations. It's like, so that's exactly how we're using it. There's hundreds of people that have API connections with huge companies that are using this. They would never, it wouldn't make sense. The way that they've developed this, they didn't develop this for Jeff and all these people to have their own API, right? They developed it to be used by software companies, right? So we are putting this in here, and it would make no sense based on the way that this is intended to be used for them to connect GMBs on the same API to each other and say hey, we're going to hold these business owners that are using this software responsible because for the software, they understand that all these people are not software developers. These are people that signed up for this. When our GMB API got shut down because of those edits and people trying to hack the system, we had over 10,000 GMBs in our system. I heard from 0 people that they got suspended associated with that. We had over 800 GMBs or something like that in ours. 0 of those got suspended. So local Viking, I think, had 100,000. I heard 0 of them got suspended. So I think that these things come from, like, there was like trust that was saying like, hey, use this. And then when the API is removed, people's minds start to wander who don't really understand how this stuff works. And they just like, there's fear, like these are valuable to us. I 100% agree with you. I've got all my stuff. I'm like in here. And I think it is way more trustworthy to have it be going through the API than to have a bunch of VAs that are like logging in from all these different, like, that seems like way bigger of a footprint. It wouldn't make any sense for Google to track login, like the logins all coming through the API. It's not coming from like wherever you guys log. Like if Graham, if you log in from Australia into your GMB through our system, and then I log into the GMB through our system, if it's going through the API, they're both coming from our server, right? Which is Amazon Web Services, the most trusted host in the world. It's like, it doesn't make any sense to me. I've never heard anyone who I think really knows what's going on and understands like software and Google API from that perspective feel worried about that. So like Google created this for software, and that's exactly how we're using it. So it doesn't make any sense to me. And like we've seen this where ours got suspended and no one lost their GMB. So we actually have a sample size of over 110,000 GMBs where it's just like, it wasn't an issue. So I feel really confident about it, but it's up to you guys. You guys make the best decision you have with the information in front of you. That's my viewpoint on it.
Well, dude, that's why, I've got a lot of respect for you, and, you're a developer yourself. So you know what's going on, and you hear stories, you hear rumors, and half the battle with this whole game, man, is to try and find out what's bullshit and what's facts, So, once again, for the sake of Gareth too, this is one of the best groups you can be in, guys, for the zero bullshit factor. So, that's thanks for the clarification, man. I can put my head on the pillow tonight.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. You're welcome. All right, guys. Let's do some awesome stuff in this next 7 days. Let's create some wins. Let's land some new clients. Let's get our assets in place so that we're better positioned for 2 weeks from now, right? Everything that we do matters. And if like there's a famous saying, and it's kind of in my mind all the time now, is like, show me your calendar and I'll tell you what your bank account is. So you guys got 7 days before our next call. Set up your calendar so you're up for success. So that's making a difference on where you want to go. Look through some of the planning, some of the training that we've done, and make sure that you're like building things and you have things scheduled based on your priorities and what's important to you so that you can move your business forward. You guys have an awesome week, and we'll see you guys in the group. Take care, everyone.